All right, this is Brave New History. We're live with Pierre, Charles, Dubreuil.
Dubreuil.
Yep,
Dubreuil.
wonderful. And so we're talking about Raëlism. And I met Pierre Charles from the Myth Vision Facebook group. We're both
Yeah,
fans of Myth Vision. So
yeah, I like direct.
yeah. And if you're watching this, I don't know what you're doing. You need to go to Myth Vision and like and subscribe over there. And then, after you're done watching all those videos, you can come back here. And
Mhm.
we're talking about Raëlism. Maybe you might be familiar with it. It's about aliens, the Elohim, really responsible for the events of the Bible. Hopefully, I'm good so far. And you might have heard them in the news. And this is another reason to keep watching this interview. Is we'll touch on they're beginning to go topless. I think it's a yearly thing. So we'll hopefully keep everybody's attention for at least a little bit for this interview, if only for that. And let's. What would you say? What's your background? How did you come into it? And what's the history
Like you
of?
said,
Yeah.
like you said, I was watching Myth Vision because there's so many good interviews. Of course, one I like is Richard Carrier,
Yeah.
who has written a lot about Jesus, or more precisely, the knowledge
Ah,
of Jesus.
I can
And
see where you'd like that with the whole crucified in space thing, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that was very special. And I've seen one of his conference where he was comparing a new religion like
Hmm.
Mormons,
Hmm.
or now I think they changed their name and they get back to the
Hmm.
Church of the Latter Days Saints. Because I always like to be respectful with different religions. And so my story, personal story, before we talk about Raëlism, perhaps, is when I was younger, a little bit about 15 years old, I was watching Star Trek. That was my favorite program. I also liked Lost in Space, but it was, I think, less serious. Good, but less
Hmm.
serious. And so for Star Trek, here in Montreal, we have Comic Con, like
Yeah.
almost every city in the States. And I've met almost every character from Star Trek. I've met William Shatner, George Takei, and for the new ones, I've met Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, so a lot of them. And so when I was young, I liked Star Trek. I was a member of the Montreal Astronomical Society. I had my own telescope, and one day I looked in it and saw Saturn. That was so fantastic to see the ring for myself. And so I was very excited about all that. And strangely, I was also reading the Bible, mostly the New Testament, because I like the story of Jesus. I was going to church until I was 17. And at 17, I found a magazine, a free magazine that was given in stores in Montreal. I live in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And that magazine was The Plain Truth. So this was a church that is called the Universal Church of God or something like that. It was created by Herbert Armstrong. And so I read some of their material, and I attended one of their conference And the subject of the conference was creation evolution, which is true. And because I was reading the Bible, and I had also, of course, that was in the 70s, so I already knew the book of Eric von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods. So I already was interested in the idea that extraterrestrial visited us in the past. So all this was a little bit mixed up. But in 76, I first heard about Raël and his message. And very shortly, the message says, in the Bible, there is no God. The Bible is the oldest atheist book in the world. What? Because the word Elohim in Hebrew, that was translated in a singular God, is in fact a plural. Elohim is plural. If they wanted to represent a singular God, they should have wrote Eloha. That would have simplified the things. But it's a plural. Another problem, if the Jews read the Bible in Hebrew, when they see the name of God or one of his name, what the people call the tetragram, Yod He Vav He, they cannot pronounce it. So they say instead Adonai. But Adonai, again, is a plural. The singular would be Adon. So there's a lot of plural here. And so after seeing that conference about creation, evolution, Star Trek, Bible, and finding the message from Raël, I said, wow, this mix science and religion, and it answers the problem we had with those plural in the Bible. Example, Genesis 1:26. It's written, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Why the plural again? Christian will answer, oh, it's because of the Trinity. God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But the Jews had no idea about the Trinity. So that's not the explanation. And when you read Raël, what he says is to tell his story. In 1973, he was a sports car journalist. He was also driving sports car. And one morning, instead of going to his office, he felt an urge to go to a volcano, extinct volcano outside of the town. He was living in Clermont-Ferrand in France. And the name of the volcano is the Puy de la Sola. And so he went there without knowing why. He walked a little bit inside the volcano, go to the center and said, well, what am I doing here? I have work to do at my office. He was almost turning back, and suddenly he saw a very, very bright, shining light in the sky. At first he said, what's that? Maybe that's an helicopter, but he was hearing nothing at all, no sound. And the machine was coming down slowly, and as it approached him, he saw that it was really a machine made of very shining silver metal, and it stopped at about 30 meters from him. So he was happy. He said, oh, that's what people call a flying saucer. And it will probably leave, and I will tell my friend, they will laugh at me, and that's it. But suddenly he saw, I will make it here, a stair unfold, and two legs, a little body coming out. It was, at first, he thought it was a child, because The being was about 1.40 meters, or I don't know exactly in feet. He had a beard, small beard and black hair, very elongated eyes like the Chinese, but he said more elongated than the Chinese. And at first he looked, does he has a gun or something, or he had nothing in his hand. And he said his face was so full of love. I felt the love of this being. So my anxiety, because he was a little bit anxious at first, completely fall down. He felt very well, and he said, I have to do something. He made a gesture like that. The being made the same thing. And he asked, do you speak French? And the being said, yes, I can speak French. And he says, I can speak all the languages of the world. Where do you come from? I come from very far away. And the conversation goes on like that. The being invited Raël to come inside the ship. And for 6 consecutive days, this being revealed to Raël the true history of humanity. On the first day, he said, tomorrow, bring with you the Bible, something to take notes, and I will give you a very important message that you will have to put in a book form and spread to all humanity. And to resume that message, what he says is, a long time ago on our planet, it was, they say 25,000 years ago, there are so 25,000 years of scientific and wisdom advance on us. They started to create living form in laboratories. But at one point they had some problem, and the public opinion was against those research, and they received the permission to go elsewhere to do their research. So they search in their galaxy, because it's also our galaxy. They live in the same galaxy as us, and they found the Earth. And that's where we see the start of the Bible, when it's written, in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. So he explained Elohim doesn't mean God, but those who came from the sky. And like I said before, it's a plural. And so we explored the universe, found the earth, and came here to create laboratories. At that time, there was nothing on the earth, only water, clouds. And if we follow the story of Genesis in the Bible, it explained what we now call terraforming. That's what they did at the time. After making some ground appear, or anyway, a place to land, they built 7 different laboratories. And in these laboratories, they created life from synthesizing DNA. And there are 7 laboratories because there are 7 different races, if we can say races, on their planet, and they create the same thing on this planet. So when people, believers of the Bible, say God created us, in fact, it was humans, extraterrestrials, who created us, but not only us. They started with simple things, planktons, little things in the water, the fish, the birds, the plants, the animals, herbivore, carnivore, even the dinosaurs. That was some crazy experiment they did. And some people on their planet watching that say, hey, what's that? They're crazy. And finally, they created humans, man and woman, in their image. Like I said, Genesis 1:26, let us make man in our image. So that's the very basic, the beginning of the message. And so for 6 consecutive days, Raël was meeting this extraterrestrial. And after that, he started to speak in a French TV program, a very popular program. He received thousands of letters from people saying, hey, we believe you're saying the truth and we want to help you spread this message. So that was the beginning. In 1973, he had the meeting, and in March 74, he first spoke on television about it. Me personally, I discovered the message in 1976 in Montreal. My mother said to me, hey, listen to the radio. There's a guy speaking about extraterrestrials. And she knew I like Star Trek, so that got my attention, and I bought the first book, the book which tells the truth. That's the French title you're seeing here, The Message Given by the Extraterrestrials. And I first met Raël personally in 1977. I think I have a picture I took of him here. So that's the picture I took of him the first time I met him, January 1977 at Montreal Airport. And after that, I become involved in the movement. And like I said, or I don't remember if I said it publicly, I'm not a scholar or an academic or anything, but I wrote a little article for a book that's called The Best of Trek, the magazine for Star Trek fans. And the title of the article was, a positive example of violation of the Prime Directive, Earth's history of revealed religions. Because you know, in Star Trek, the Prime Directive says that you cannot intervene with civilizations that have not reached warp drive. So in a way, since the extraterrestrial intervene in our history by sending prophets during different time, and my primitive violation of the Prime Directive, that's a little bit joke, but I said the flood was a violation of that directive, because what happened at the time of the flood, first of all, it was not a flood. It was a bombing of the planet to destroy all life on Earth, because on the planet of the Elohim, there's the one we talked before, who is named Yahweh, who is the president of the Council of the Elohim. And there's like a kind of political opposition party. And the leader of that party is the one we call Satan. So Satan was against the creation of human life. And he was observing what was happening on the earth. And he said, hey, your creation, that's bad. They are killing each other. They are making wars. That's not good. You should destroy that. You miss everything. And there was a vote on their planet, and the opposition party won. So they decided to destroy all life on Earth. But Noah, who was a good man, and some of the creators pleaded for him and said, no, some are good. Don't destroy everything. You must save some of them. And so Noah was not saved in a boat, but when in a rocket. That rocket was orbiting the Earth during the destruction. And this massive destruction caused the original unique continent I was speaking before, because at the beginning we discovered that there was only one continent, the Pangaea or something like that. And so the explosion was so powerful that the continent was fractured in many parts. So what we see today is the result of the fracturation of the unique continent in many different parts. And after the Elohim received a message on their planet saying, you have been created by other extraterrestrial, and you are part of a chain, infinite chain of creation in the universe. So that's only then they understood that what they did on the earth was not simply a strange, crazy experiment, but it was something written in them to create. It's something we want to do, explore space, create life. And so then they decided never to destroy humanity again. They decided to send us some messengers that we call prophet in the religions. And these prophets were adapted to the time where they come, giving a message to try to help us elevate our consciousness a little bit. And today, when in 1945, they saw the explosion of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they said, wow, now they have reached a stage where they can destroy themselves with atomic weapons. So the time has come to send them the last prophet. So Raël is the last prophet. And now what they say is, all the years before, you had messages, but you didn't have science, so you could not understand. So we say to you, believe, believe, believe. But now for the first time, we say, stop to believe and start to understand. Science can help us understand that what was done for us, we will do it in the future. And so now the next step will be to build an embassy, an official embassy, where they will land with all the diplomatic security, I would say, like any other country, but this country will be from another planet. And the Raëlian movement has the mission first to spread this message, to make people understand what happened in the past, and to prepare for the return of the Elohim. And when they will come back, they will come with the prophets of old, like Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Mohammed. They are all alive on their planet of the Eternals, because they can live eternally thanks to the secret of eternity. And that secret is the scientific technology of cloning. That's part of it. Like Elon Musk or another Russian scientist who wants to transfer the content of your memory, your experience, everything you have will be transferred inside a computer. And with cloning, you can have a new body exactly like your body. And they have a way to transfer the knowledge that is in the computer and transfer it again in the body. And in this way, you can live eternally. In fact, they die at every 1,000 years. Live for 700, 1,000 years with a body that is only like 20 years old. It doesn't age, with a scientific operation that is simple. That's what they say. And by repeating this cloning, they can live eternally. Yahweh, the one I spoke, the president of the Elohim, is 25,000 years old. So that's part of the thing. Another thing I should talk about perhaps is those who say that there has to be a beginning. And what we say is that the universe is infinite, space, in time. So the universe always existed in the form of matter or energy. Our brain, for now, I think we cannot understand that, but that's what this message is saying. So I will stop for now. Perhaps you have some question.
Yeah. So this cloning. So are we saying like the majority of people, that's it? That they're just dead at that point, or
The
they don't get
majority
cloned?
of people, I would say the majority of people, okay, well, I will say it another way, perhaps. If science doesn't intervene, there is nothing after death. When you die, the atoms that compose your body goes back to the earth. And the organization that was your consciousness disappear in infinity. So no more consciousness, no more individuality, nothing. Just atoms going back to atoms of the earth. But if you have the science of cloning, you can take your DNA, that is the plan of the individual, and like I said, put your memory back in the new body that is cloned. And what the Elohim say is that those who merit this is, of course, those who have brought the most things to humanity by their inventions, their kindness to people, everything, I would say, everything we think is good. So if you have been a good person, you have done good things for humanity, you have shared your knowledge, your technical skill, anything. So you could be recreated after your life. In 1975, when Raël was taken to the planet of the Elohim, he said that there were 700 Elohim eternal, but there were 8,400 humans. And some people said, wow, only 8,000 since the beginning of humanity. And they say, yes, but at the same time, we love humans more than ourselves because we have only 700 Elohim. So in a way, you need to be very, very above other people, I would say, in your realization. Some people can say, oh, so that's not a bad message, but almost, because they will say, I'm not sure I will be recreated. I have done nothing in my life, perhaps. And the Christian will say, hi, it's better with us. With us, you just believe in Jesus and you're recreated for sure. So that's a way of seeing it. But at the same time, I think it gives us the guts, I don't know if it's the good word, to do more, I think. And myself, I'm also here in Quebec, a member of the Humanist Association of Quebec. And I said to them, you know, there's no difference between humanists and Raëlians. We're all humans. We all believe that there's nothing supernatural, nothing magical. Only science can help us to have more comfort or things like that. And so I think to be a human, there's nothing bad to be a human and want to do good around you. And I don't think you need a God to be like that. Almost every human is like that. So there's not much difference. The only difference is that we believe that the Elohim created us. We would like to meet them. They are our fathers from space. It's a little bit like if I have not seen my fathers for many, many years, and suddenly I receive a postcard saying, "Hey, I'm coming home. Prepare the home." And happy, wow, I will meet my father. I have not seen him since a long time. So that's the way I feel about this.
Yeah. And so what does Rael do? That he's in a building or
Presently, he lives in Japan. If you want to see more about his, not everything he does, but sometimes he does a speech that is recorded. You can find that on YouTube. It's called Raël Academy, Raelacademy, Raël Academy, because he gives some seminars, but we call that Happiness Academy seminars. So some of them are recorded and put on YouTube. If you want to live them in person, because this last 1 week, you can go to Japan to be in presence of Raël himself, or these seminars are given also on each continent. I don't remember the dates, but there's one coming here in North America. I think it will be in the United States somewhere. I don't know where now, but if people want to know, they just have to check again the website that's called raelusa.org. So that's easy to find, and you go to events, etc. And so that's mostly what he does. He's giving teachings about what he learned on the planet of the Elohim. He's giving teachings on how to be more happy or to meditate. We have some meditations to be in harmony with infinity and some other meditations. And so he gives his teachings. You can also read his book. Like I said, the English edition is available free. It's called Intelligent Design, Message from the Designers. That's the same as the French I showed you before, but that's the English translation. In fact, in this book, there's three books, and it's free. You can download it on the Raël USA website. And there's a lot of information, more information than what I can tell. And of course, to live it is always better than just to hear about it.
yeah. And now there's different levels of guides.
Yes, that's I call it level of responsibility. Because if you want an organization to work, you need some organization. And so there are some people, and I will start at level 4. There's 1, 3, but at level 4, we call them priests. Level 5, we call them bishops. And the Raël himself is called the guide of guides and is like the Pope in a way, is the leader of the movement. And so in the Raëlian movement, I said it's a religion, so we have a kind of baptism that is again, scientifically explained. when Jesus was baptizing, it was the same thing, but those people could not understand DNA, vibrations, computers. They could not understand that. So Jesus said, get baptized and believe. So now we can understand that with their technology, they can record our personal identity because each of our atoms vibrates, and each atoms of every person is different. There's not two persons who are exactly the same, unless it's perhaps twins. But even them, they have different life experience if they live apart and things like that. So anyway, so that vibration can be recorded by the Elohim. And if you want to recognize publicly the Elohim as your creators, you can have your baptism. So a guide, level 4, 5, or Raël himself will put his hand in water, a little bit water. You don't have to get washed completely in a lake, but a little bit of water to help the transmission because it's a little bit electricity, electromagnetic, things like that. He puts his hand on your forehead and your vibration is transmitted to the Elohim computer. This computer, like the primitive think, everything you do is recorded in that computer. And when you die, they do a kind of balance sheet, good things, bad things you do. And if you were good enough, you may be recreated on the planet of the Eternals for now. Because ultimately, when the Elohim will come back, they will give us that knowledge and we will be able to do it ourselves. So I like to think sometimes, I don't know exactly what are their criteria to give eternal life to someone, but it's interesting to think if I am the judge of that, what will be my criteria to give eternal life to someone? I have not all the answers to that, but I like to think about that.
Yeah. Gotcha. And so let's see. So there's 5 levels, including Rail.
Raël is level 6, guide of guide.
6.
Yeah. Level 1 is someone who has done a seminar, Happiness Academy. Level 1 and 2 is people who can speak around them. Normally not publicly, but in small groups. To speak publicly, you need to be at least level 3. Because, of course, we want people who transmit the message the most accurately possible. Mm-hmm. And like Raël says, because sometimes people say, oh, is the guru, is the leader, the master, and everything. But Raël always says, I'm just like a parrot. I heard the message, I repeat it. I'm just like the mailman. I'm bringing you a mail, you read it, but after I've given you the mail, I'm not important. I'm important only because I'm the one who brings you the mail. But after, when you read it, you do what you want with it. Because we don't want to convince people. It's not possible anyway. We just want to inform people about this. We called it the third hypothesis. Before there was the creation by a supernatural God. He just wished that you're there and poof, you appear. Second, we came from the fish and the monkeys and the Darwinian evolution. And this is the third hypothesis, an atheist intelligent design creation. So that's the way we like to present it.
Gotcha. And are you one of the levels?
Yeah, I'm. To be honest, I'm level 2.
Mhm.
But sometimes I think if it's public but not too big,
Mhm.
it's possible to talk. And I think I know the messages quite well.
Gotcha. Well, this channel is pretty massive. As of last time I checked,
On
we have
Myth Vision,
44
there's
members or 44 subscribers.
oh yeah. Myth
Yeah,
Vision has 30,000, I think.
there you go. So I'll just
Yeah,
let's see. I'll just
and
go a few thousand times higher, and
mm,
then you won't be
but
able to come on anymore because it can't be too big of a group. So
oh well,
good thing we talked before
maybe
I
next
exploded.
time,
So yeah,
maybe next time it will be a guide if needed.
yeah, yeah.
And if I can talk a little bit about me, how
Hmm.
I became Raëlian. Like I said before, I was a fan of Star Trek. I was reading the Bible, and for me, that was the perfect mix. I said that's the cherry on the Sunday cake.
Hmm.
It's religion and science perfectly. And I was always interested in science. Uh, I like authors like Isaac Asimov. Um, and I've read books for people who think, poor guy, he's brainwashed, he's in a cult. I've read books about that. Like, I don't know if you've read When Prophecy Fails by
I
Finger.
Who said
That's
that?
the name of the guy is Festinger. There was another guy, but I
No.
don't. And the
Yeah.
title of the book is When Prophecy Fails.
Hmm.
In 1953 or 56, there was a woman in New York who predicted the end of the world and that UFOs were going to come and save the people
Hmm.
in following her. And so two psychologists decided to get inside the cult. I don't like the word cult. Academic prefer new religious movement. So in that movement, they get inside. Of course, on the date she predicted, nothing happened. And what Festinger found interesting, and I think it's called the Festinger law or the Festinger effect or something like that,
Hmm.
is after the prediction failed, the member become more enthusiastic in spreading the message. And he said, wow,
Hmm.
a lot left the cult, yes, but some of them become more excited in spreading the message, saying, they will come later or something like that. So I know that people will think about Raëlians, oh, they want to welcome aliens. They said they will build an embassy. We're still waiting for that embassy. Where is it?
Hmm.
Will you build it? And Rael said that the Elohim will come back not later than 2035. So I'm very conscious that in 2035, people may look at us and say, hey, where are the Elohim? So we'll see. I'm confident that they will come, uh, but we'll see. I'm open to the possibility that this is not true. Like you talk, I said, I've listened to your interview with David
Hmm.
Lane. It was very interesting. And I'm I accept the possibility that this is not true, because I say Raël was alone. Nobody was with him when he met the aliens. So maybe he's just telling a story. I've read the Homo Deus by Yuval Noah Harari. That's a very, very interesting book.
Mhm.
And what I understood from that book is that humans like to tell stories. So somebody tell a story, one or more person start to believe the story, they organize themselves to spread the story, and after many years, many years, it becomes a religion. You know what the academics say? A religion is a cult that has succeeded. So I like
Yeah.
that idea. So who
Yeah,
knows?
I've heard I forget who said it, but a cult is a group where the leader knows it's all nonsense, and then
Mm.
a religion is after that guy has died.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which
Interesting.
it's an
So
interesting, yeah.
about Rael, we can't know if he believes this is nonsense, because if you hear him speak, he
Hmm.
will repeat it again and again. I live what I'm telling you in my bones, in my flesh, and
Hmm.
I tell it again and again until I die. So that's difficult to say if he believes himself or not. I know some people ask the question, do you really think he believes what he's telling? I think so, because I had the chance to meet him sometime in some small group, and I've seen him answer questions in different interviews, and
Hmm.
impression is that when he answers a question, is not like a man who say, oops, that's a new question, what will I invent to answer that? No, he spontaneously answer almost every question, really like someone who has lived what he is telling. For me, a little details, maybe it's not important, but for me it's a little detail. He said in one interview, when I approach the machine to step on the stair to go
Hmm.
above the machine, I put my feet on the first step and it didn't move at all. I was very surprised, because normally when you enter into a car, it moves a little bit. But this machine, when I put my feet on the first step, it didn't move at all, stayed completely still. And for me, that's a little detail. For me, it's telling me he really lived
Hmm.
that. He did not invent that part of his story. And he doesn't say that every time. I heard that in one interview, but he has done so many interviews. And it's interesting because today there are many academics who are doing uh, doctorate or thesis about the Raëlian movement to try to
Hmm.
understand. If you want to read something from a religion sociologist, someone wrote a book. It's a woman. She's named Susan Palmer, and the title of the book is Aliens Adored, Raël's UFO Religion. So
Hmm.
that's a very interesting book, seen by an academic who has done participating observation on our group for 15 years before writing her book. So that's very, very good if you want to have an outside view of what we are, what Raël is, and there are a lot of other things.
Yeah, when we were talking about setting up the interview, I'd reached out to her. So
okay.
yeah, we'll see if she responds. And yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be
maybe.
interesting to see it from an academic point of view.
Yeah.
In what she says.
Like I said, there's so many books. One that I like, but it's a collection of essays by many different scholars. But one of them is Susan Palmer. The article she wrote was about the role of women in the Raëlian movement, and it's in the book "Aliens Have Landed" by G. Gordon Melton.
Yeah. Now, maybe before we go, I promised our viewers about the Go Topless days. What do we
I
have
don't
going on
have
with that?
all the information, but go to the website gotopless.org,
Mhm.
and there's a little dot on every city where there will be a,
Mhm.
I don't know how to call it, celebration. I think it's in New York for sure on August 21st of this year, 2022, for people who will listen to that in 5 years. And perhaps in Venice, California, Toronto, I'm not sure, and many other places in Europe. There are some cities that will
Mhm.
that manifestation or
Yeah.
celebration. Just go to gotoplus.org and you'll have the information.
And like, what's the background on it? Like, why do that?
Uh, I think I'm not totally sure, but I think that before us there was already another organization that was called Free the Nipple, and they were doing almost the same thing. And probably when Raël saw that, he says, "Hey,
Mhm.
everybody is for equality rights for men and women. So men are free to go on the beach, of course, without a t-shirt, but women have to have a bikini at least." Well, some beach in France, Saint-Tropez, you can go topless. And in fact, many cities, the law doesn't forbid you to go topless. In many cities, I think New York, you can go topless. In Montreal, you can go topless.
Mhm.
But if you
Yeah.
do it, you may have some problems. Maybe some policeman doesn't know the law or things like that. And personally, I think that men are not wise enough, because if you see a topless young woman, a lot of men will, and that's not very intelligent or
Mhm.
respect. And we have, because what we say with the Go Topless event is that, of course, a breast is very sexual for a man, but we try to desexualize the breast. Because like me, that some men have bigger breasts than some women who have a tiny breast.
Mhm.
So it's not just for men to be able to go topless and not for women. So that's the basic of the
Mhm.
reason behind this event. But at the same time, of course, if people say, but who are behind Go Topless? And if they say, oh, it's the Raëlians, who are the Raëlians? Oh,
Mhm.
people believe that aliens created life on Earth. Oh, yeah, what's that? And they will Google
Mhm.
alien. Of course,
Got it.
we also use it to spread the message in an indirect way.
Got
Uh,
it.
said a little bit. Raël also has a political book. It's called Geniocracy. So put the genius in power so that humanity will not destroy itself in a nuclear war. That's not very bright. And so that's the way politics work on the planet of the Elohim. And they think that if we apply the same principles, it could help humanity. So all the books Raël has written are available on raelusa.org, and they are all free to download. Just click download and you read the book in ebook.
All right, brilliant. So
So
just
that's about it.
got it. And so with the go topless thing, there's nothing theological about it. It's maybe a little bit of to get the name out, and then a little bit political, like everybody should have the same rights. Is that fair?
Yeah, equal rights.
Mhm.
That may be seen as a political thing. And as you know, it can be seen perhaps badly by some people because some may say, oh, well, he is exploiting women. Because, every religion, most of the religion, I don't know a lot, who have a positive view of women. In most religion, women are inferior to men. But here, what we say is that women and men are different. Yes, of course, but they are equal. And what we say, that's very rare, we are also equal to our creators when we meditate. There is no superiority when we are in the meditation state. Because in the universe, there's a kind of cosmic awareness that is the same for every living being. So that's something important. And to finish, perhaps, there's a phrase I would like.
Oh, here, you're frozen on my end here. Here, if we could start over. It looks like we're frozen, at least on my end.
We also say that we are probably the only ask you to do something and even better down from the sky and ask you to do something that goes against your conscience, you must not do it. So that's different from many religions where they say, if God asks me to do it, I will do it. Will not think, I will do it anyway. And Raël, when he speaks about that, he always tell the story of Abraham, who received the order to kill his firstborn son. And Raël says it was a kind of, how do we say, pari, a bet between Satan and Yahweh. Satan said to Yahweh, your creation, they are stupid. Ask them anything and they will do it. Yahweh said, oh, no, they are not that stupid. Okay, try it. So Yahweh said to Abraham, kill your firstborn son. And Abraham was going to kill his son. Then an angel took his hand and said, hey, stop, crazy, don't do that. And Satan said, you see, I won.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good spin on it.
That's a kind of joke.
Yeah.
So that's why today, Raël says, even if they ask you something that goes against your conscience, don't do it.
Gotcha. That's good advice. Right. Like, I know, what's his name? Who's the author? God is Not Great. I'm drawing a blank. I'm gonna have to Google it here, but he said
A group,
well, here
something.
Christopher Hitchens, right? He says that the only moral response to being asked to do that is "F you." I think we lost you. Oh, can you hear me?
I'm losing your voice.
Gotcha. Well, looks like we're on the fritz here. I think as a civilization, we need to develop better technology.
Okay.
So that doesn't happen to us. So maybe maybe we're on the right track, right? But maybe at least until 2035. Oh geez, I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Well, we just have to look at Muslim. I don't want to speak about any religion. Yes, but I'm missing a lot.
Gotcha. Well, here now
I said is we just have to look at the Muslim who put bombs on themselves in the name of Allah. So, like I said during my interview, stop to believe and start to understand.
Yep, very good. And then I'll put that in the description here. And yeah, and people can check it out. Yeah.
If they have any comments, interesting. I'm always interested in comments. I know some Christians, perhaps you know it also, but Christians say that there cannot be any life out there in the universe. No extraterrestrial really exists. And what we see, UFOs, aliens, for them, it's only demons. So what Raël says is when the Elohim will land in the embassy with the prophets, many Christians will say, oh, that's the demons, that's the Antichrist, and they will not accept it as the truth. So you can expect in the comments, many people will say, no, aliens are demons. If Christians write to you, that's what you will receive.
Yeah, good deal. And hopefully they do, because if you write in the comments, it does help the channel. And subscribing helps, and liking helps. But also, I've said this before on my channel, down voting. So a thumbs down also helps my channel. And so if you can go on a big argument on my channel, that's a lot of activity, and YouTube likes that. So hopefully they do. If you think aliens are demons, be sure to write that in the chat. And yeah, that's the gist here. And if you have any other comments too, those are welcome as well.
Yeah, and to finish, like I said, you can also go to Elohim Embassy. That's another website to know more about the timing of the construction. And like I said, they will come back not later than 2035. That's the Elohim themselves. That's what they say to write. To know that in Deuteronomy 18, I think, it says that if a prophet predicts something that doesn't come to pass, he has to be killed.
Uh-oh.
But there's more interesting. I don't know if you know the other one. If a prophet predicts something and it does come to pass, but he asks you to believe in gods or in Elohim that your fathers didn't know, you must not listen to him. So Raël says, I'm speaking in the name of the Elohim of Jacob, Elijah, and Abraham. One Christian, Raël did one Christian show a long time ago, and the pastor asked him, what gives you the authority to speak like you do? And he said, I'm speaking directly from the mouth of those who inspired the first human to write the Bible, the Elohim of the Bible. So you have to read the book to understand all that, because there's so much more information in the book that will help you understand. Because just saying this like that, people will listen and say, he's just crazy. Like Raël says, if Jesus came in our time, they would have put him in a psychiatric asylum.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. All right, brilliant.
So I was very happy to speak with you. Very interesting.
Yeah, happy for you to come on. I know that you're always posting on the Myth Vision Facebook group about Raëlianism. So
okay,
glad we could have you on. And now, instead of a link or a text, now we have it in interview form.
Yeah, I hope Derek will listen to this.
Yes, of course. And I hope that other people listen to this on me plugging Myth Vision, because I love the show. And but I guess, maybe that's one thing that I can do on my show that he can't, is have you on, because you have to be a 4th level to go on his show. So, that's one thing I got. Pierre Charles only on Brave New History.
Yeah, you're a lucky man.
Yeah, thank you.
Of UFOs, even myself, I'm very happy these days, because since I say that there was a turning point in ufology on December 17 or 16, 1917, because that New York Post articles with the 2 videos that were released. So that was the first turning point. The second was the report that came out last year on June 1921. And recently, in May, that was the Congress hearing about UAPs, UFOs.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody's want to know more about UFOs, but we Raëlians, even if academics classify us in UFO religion, we're not really interested in UFOs. It's like if you have a car, and I'm always trying to say, oh, what is car? What is car? I'm not interested in your car. I'm interested to speak with you. Who is inside the UFO? Do they have something to say to us? And I say, yes, they gave us a message in 1973. So that's the message that is important. The being who are inside the UFOs, not the UFOs. So sometimes I say today, there are more and more people who believe in extraterrestrials, but sometimes for the wrong reasons. And you see a lot of new people you have never seen before coming in. I call it the bandwagon of ufology. They appear from nowhere and they're interested in UFOs. That's okay. So more and more people want to know what is this phenomena. And so we have one possible answer. I believe it's the good one, but you don't have to accept my words for it. Read the message and decide for yourself.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I'm sure everybody will love it. And yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you later. Thanks so much.
See you next time.